What are you doing to help trace the killer clown?
Research, George.
Yeah? You have a copy of the clown's yearbook?
I have a telephone and lots of contacts.
Oh, well, did you find anything useful?
Not yet. I'm employing my first and most useful weapon.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it a substitute for decisive thinking? Do you have a boyfriend?
Not anymore. There was someone. A guy in my final year, but it didn't work out. Neither did my degree.
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Tell me more about your family.
When I was a little girl, I used to spend the winter with my grandfather and grandma. They were the best times, warm and safe in their tiny cottage. My grandfather rolled cigarettes while grandma made hot chocolate and cakes. One day, he stopped his scrolling. He put the lid back on his tobacco jar and took me in his arms. I laughed and wriggled, but he hushed me to be silent. With his unshaven chin all scratchy in my ear, he told me his secret.
What did he say?
He said, "I don't smoke, but she likes to think I do."
What a weird old man.
Don't call my grandfather weird. He was the nicest guy ever. I wish I was back in that cottage instead of this crummy apartment in this noisy city.
You're just not going to believe what I've found.
It's not another part of the clown's costume, is it?
It's a medieval manuscript. Khan left it in the safe at the Ubu.
It's incredible. Is this what he took from Plantark?
It could be, which means it's worth enough to kill for.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar? Their official seal was an image of two knights sharing a horse. Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades. This guy, named Hughes de Payen, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced Muslim armies. The king would be able to guarantee safe transit to Christians in the Holy Land. Safer journeys meant more pilgrims, and pilgrims meant trade and wealth. The Templars proved invaluable to the king as a mercenary army. It was said that they never asked how many the enemy numbered, just where they were. And as the years went by, the Templars grew in wealth and numbers. They were so rich, even kings came to them for loans. But at the height of their power, they fell foul of the King of France. He rounded them up and turned them over to the Inquisition. Thousands of Templars were subject to torture and confessed to heresy. Of course, at the hands of the Inquisition, there wasn't much they wouldn't confess to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive.
Jeez. So the treasure is hidden, waiting to be discovered?
If there ever was a treasure, it's been lost for 600 years. Anyway, we're supposed to be investigating a serial killer, not a medieval treasure trove.
But maybe that's what the clown and his accomplices are after. Maybe this manuscript is the key.
You'd better leave it here for safekeeping.
Let's take another look at the manuscript. A knight with a crystal ball. Now, there's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinam mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the wicked queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall," wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid. Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either. There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover. It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod.
Look there, 2 guys on the same horse. Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
I know a guy who specializes in medieval studies. His name is Lobineau.
Huh. Some stuffy old fossil who gets horny over ancient relics, I suppose.
Far from it. Andre isn't the stereotypical professor you have in mind.
Where can I find this Lobineau guy?
At the Kroon Museum. I'll give you the address.
I have to go.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lobineau at the Kroon Museum.
In the case was a spindly tripod, blackened with age and pitted with rust. It was identical to the tripod pictured on the manuscript. A notice identified it as 15th century from Western Ireland. It had been found in Loch Marne at the site of a Knights Templar preceptory. Ireland!
What's that?
This tripod was found in Ireland.
I will have to ask you to keep your voice down.
I'm sorry, I was excited. A metal rod attached to the wall was connected to the window. The totem pole looked distinctly out of place in the setting of the museum. It was an ancient Egyptian sarcophagus with a beautifully painted effigy of its owner on the lid. Pardon me.
Oui, monsieur?
Are you Lobineau?
Oh, no. Fancy you mistaking me for him. No. I am the deputy custodian.
But Lobineau does work here.
Work? I wouldn't go so far as to call it that. He studies here most days, but as you can see for yourself, not today.
Do you know anything about the Knights of the Temple?
No, sir. Not a sausage.
The sign on the tripod says it was found at a Templar preceptory.
It does?
Yeah. It doesn't mention John D. at all.
Most remiss.
You don't know anything about the tripod, do you?
No, I don't. I never had much of a start in life, you see. I owe what little education I gained to my uncle. He was an optician, but he also doubled as the village school teacher. He taught me the alphabet. Well, 19 letters of it. The bottom row of the chart was too small even for him to read, so he left them out.
Why don't you start over and enroll for adult education?
You know, I never thought of that. Do you think if I studied hard and did all my homework, I could be a professor of history?
At your age? Dream on. Do you know anything about medieval manuscripts?
Not me, monsieur. I am no scholar. Though people often mistake me for one. It is the uniform, I guess. They see the clothes. They are impressed.
And they ask you to park their cars?
They ask me to party. No. They assume I am an authority on the exhibits in my care.
Whereas you know next to nothing about history.
Of course not. All I am saying is, I am no scholar. Not like Monsieur Lobineau.
Can you give me any further information about the tripod?
Certainly, monsieur. It's infamous. That tripod, that belonged to John Dee.
What's the importance of John Dee's tripod?
Dee was the most famous escapologist of the 16th century. The Houdini of his time.
Don't you mean alchemist? Escapologists use ropes, chains, and handcuffs, not tripods.
Well, whatever he was, that is the tripod he used in his experiments.
What kind of experiments did John Dee perform with his tripod?
Oh, the usual. Didn't you study chemistry at school?
Yeah, but we skipped over thaumatology. Can I take a closer look at the tripod?
What? Get it out of the case? Ah, no! That tripod is protected by a sophisticated surveillance system.
How sophisticated?
A painfully loud alarm bell.
How is the alarm bell triggered?
By the slightest pressure on or movement of any part of the case wherein that tripod is situated.
It strikes me that to call your alarm system sophisticated is, well, stretching the truth a little.
It has never failed yet. The sophistication is in its simplicity.
Thanks for your help. The totem pole looked distinctly out of place in the setting of the museum.
Leave it alone. That closet is over 3,000 years old.
Closet? It's a sarcophagus. Hi, I've been to the Kroon Museum.
Did you speak to Lobineau?
No, he wasn't there. Let's take another look at the manuscript. The knights, through my teachings, you will be enlightened. There's a guy with a between them.
Look there.
There's but the reflection. There's a guy working on. I found the tripod.
Where?
In the museum. It belonged to the Templars. It was dug up in Ireland at a place called Loch Marn.
I have heard of Loch Marn. I read an article about the castle. Take a look for yourself.
A popular gossip magazine. You read that rubbish?
No, I write it.
Professor Nigel Pegram, excavating the medieval castle at Loch Marn. That's strange.
What?
He resigned his chair at Durham University in order to devote his time to the excavation. Not only that, but he canceled the filming of a fourth series of his popular television program. This site at Loch Marne must be awful important to him.
He's a professor of history. They're all cuckoo.
All the same, I'd like to talk to this Professor Pegram. How do you feel about a trip to Ireland?
Disappointed.
Huh?
That I won't be going. I want to follow up the Bellotta case. If you really think Pegram's gem is important, why don't you visit Loch Marne?
On my own? I'm not so sure about that. Where is Ireland exactly? Have you found out any more about the murders?
Well, it may be nothing, but both the clan's victims visited Paris earlier this year.
When?
The second week of July. They were both here at the same time.
Did they meet?
I don't know, but I can't imagine it was coincidence.
How come you enlarged this photograph of me?
Because I noticed the guy behind you, of course.
I have to go.
Okay, I'll see you later.
I passed the castle on the way into Loch Marne, the castle where Pegram's excavation was located. Top of the morning to you.
I beg your pardon.
Well, that's what you Irish say, isn't it?
Do you want something? Or are you just flaunting your xenophobia?
Well, I was trying to be sociable.
Is it a room you're after?
No, thank you. I don't plan to stay too long.
Who does? Most folk take one look at Loch Marne and jump back on the bus.
Have you served any, clowns recently?
No. You're the first today.
Do you know a man called Pegram?
Indeed I do. Are you a friend of his, by any chance?
Oh, no. I'm just trying to track him down.
Me too. That son of a bitch should be locked away.
Did Pegram stay here?
Yes, he did. 6 nights plus breakfast.
I'll try a glass of beer, please.
Is this your first pint of real ale?
Well, I guess so. What's real ale, anyhow?
Beer that's brewed from natural ingredients to traditional methods. It shouldn't be kept under pressure or refrigerated. And finally, it should have a good body and distinctive character.
In other words, it's flat and worn with bits in, and it makes you fall over.
Do you recognize this man?
No, I don't. What do you want with him?
I've got a score to settle.
I don't want any trouble in the bar, mister. If it's a fight you're looking for, see Father Mahoney.
A priest? A man of the cloth?
Sure. And he teaches the boys how to box at the youth club. According to Mahoney, it develops character. Isn't that right, Pat? Didn't he teach you the art of pugilism? Doyle.
Sorry, Michael. I was miles away. What did you say?
Never mind.
Look, I gotta be going. Hi, my name's Stobbart, George Stobbart.
Hello there, mister. What can I do for you?
Do you know Professor Pegram?
Do I know him? Do I know the good professor himself? No, I don't. I mean, I know who he is, but I don't know him to talk to.
Do you know anything about Pegram's excavation?
Only that he didn't have the right tools for the job. What he needed was shovels and a JCB.
Pegram was digging for historical remains, not coal.
Is that a fact? What the hell for?
It's the science of archaeology, Pat. Understanding how people used to live by what they've left behind. One day archaeologists might be digging up our remains.
Imagine that, Mr. O'Brien. I wonder what they'll find.
Well, it won't be arrowheads and beakers. Fast food cartons and flavoured condoms, more likely.